Tulipswift. Today I'm going to be showing you my favorite books that I read in 2017. I almost said 16. I do that every single year. I have 12 books exactly, and I wasn't planning that. I just, I wanted to just include books that met a certain criteria. I didn't read that many books this year, but I always try to get to 100. That's my goal every year. And I almost got 50% there this year. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these books one at a time. No spoilers. And as always, I saved the best for last, so these are in ascending order. I know I say this every time, but this is my favorite hair that I've ever had. If you want to know how I did this whole process, I did all of this at home with my best friend, so that's my last video. Please go check it out. It's so much fun. I did no wrap-ups this year. I don't know if you guys noticed. I fell so behind in my wrap-ups that I just stopped doing them. I'm going to start fresh in 2018. What the heck is the year? And I want to do wrap-ups every month or every 2 months. So if you haven't seen, I have done a favorites video for 2015 and 2016. Okay, so let's get into this. Coming in at number 12 is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. This ended up making me cry. There were real tears. I love the first 2 books in this trilogy, but they're not really that connected. I finally read Isla, and I'm so happy I did. It was so much fun. It really was going so well. I thought it was going to be like a favorite book of all time because I was just feeling the love, but I didn't like a turn that it took, and if you read it, you might remember what I'm talking about. It wasn't that big of a deal, but just for me, I was like, no, like it just wasn't cohesive. It was so extra, but I don't think that should keep you from reading it. Like, Isla is still on my favorites of 2017. What is the year? I'll just say it has to do with about the main character's insecurities. Like I said, it wasn't cohesive with how brilliant and heartwarming this story was until that point. Number 11 is P.S. I Like You by Casey West. I did a book talk for it. Please check it out if you haven't seen it. It did a really good job on what it was trying to do. Give you a lighthearted, relatable story with some great characters and some excellent twists and jokes, and it was a cute plot because it's like anonymous letters. You have to like figure out by the end of the book like who's writing them, and then she kind of has feelings for him. Just super cute, and it did a great job. Actually, when I started this, and so if you start reading this book and you're like, wow, what lies? This is crap writing. I thought it was really crappy when I started it, but then I kept going on. I'm like, no, she's not, this isn't stupid. This is her actually living a teenage life and being Lily. At number 10, I'm gonna say Top 10 by Katie Catugno. I got an arc of this book at B-Fest. I read the back, said the protagonist is bisexual, and I was like, oh, well, that's different. Like, I've literally never read a book with a bi protagonist. I went right into it. It caused a lot of squealing, and I had to like call people and tell them what was going on because it just made me so excited. I gave it 5 stars. But with that being said, you might wonder why it's number 10 and not like number 3, and it was because I was like, this ending makes me so upset. It wasn't a bad ending, it just like, I was just so invested, and then I felt kind of let down with a turn of events. But that doesn't cover up how much fun this book is, and it's kind of about friendship, and it takes place from her freshman to senior year, and I really like that because I just graduated from high school, and it was kind of fun walking through Gabby's high school experience with her best friend Ryan from freshman to senior year. I was really impressed. Number 8 is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I was like, gotta read this. It's the year of 13 Reasons Why. It's the Netflix series. Gotta go. Gotta get on board. But you know what? After I finished it, I couldn't finish the first episode of the Netflix series. I was just not into it. Of course, the show is deemed problematic. Not gonna ignore that, but I can't really speak on it because I haven't seen it. But from the book's point of view, I just want to talk about a few things. Trigger warning, suicide. I really thought this book would be about mental illness, but it wasn't. It wasn't about mental illness at all. As much as we heard from Hannah, it was about Clay. Hannah killed herself because people were really mean to her. We're missing something there in that equation. I felt like this book was really about bullying and not about suicide. So the last tape really got to me, and it was just, I was just blown away. I was like, what is this writing? Like, this is so intense. Like, I just thought it was very impressive, and it was all put into a YA book. Number 7 goes to A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I actually do have a book talk on this. This was not up to par with the energy we got from that second book. I've said this before, she doesn't feel like a character. She feels like a narrator. She's just a narrator. And I really can't see her. I just see what's happened to her and who she's surrounded with. I just found out that this whole video was a lie, and I actually have 13 top books, and so everything I've been doing is one number off. This is number 7, and it's a comic series. There's 6 issues. It's by Lights. It's called Skin and Earth. You may have heard me talking about it. So Lights is a singer. She has an album that is a companion album to these issues. That is the Skin and Earth series. The chapters correspond with the music. This is like the best music ever, okay? It's kind of the apocalypse. It's like the future, and pollution is really bad, and people are divided into sectors, and people are really poor, and the environment sucks. Kind of like throughout all the issues, you just have a lot of questions, and then in the last issue, gives you all the information, and you're like, oh, it all makes sense. So it was really fun. I don't have a lot of comics to compare it to, but for the first time, I was like, this is kick butt, and I love her. Coming in at number 6 is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Yay! It's actually really hard for me to read a book. It takes a lot of motivation, and for this one, I read it in one day. One day, people! I tried really, really hard not to watch this trailer, but when I was in the movie theater, I wasn't gonna sit there like this. So once I watched the trailer, I was like, I'm taking this book on my vacation, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna do it. Sometimes I try to avoid the trailers, but sometimes you need it. Sometimes it's your motivation. It would not be on my list. It would be on my list for like 2020. The only gay books I've read are Adam Silvera. There's a lot of books with gay people in them, but that's not the same thing. This is the first book I've read of someone coming out. If I just read one page, I'd probably be like, oh, this doesn't look that good. It doesn't look that quality because of the writing. It's not bad writing. I just feel like I'm 13. I thought it was really cute. Number 5 is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara. At the top of this book, it's like a blurb from Stephen Chbosky, the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So back in the day, this was auctioned for a movie, and they even put Catherine Hardwicke, the director of Twilight, on that movie. No news since then. I don't think it's happened or is happening. So I was like, oh, I gotta read this. 2 cool people that I trust, Catherine and Stephen. So I finally got to it this year, and you know what? I'm so happy I did. This book talks about mental illness from the point of view of a girl dealing with it in kind of a similar way as The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It draws you in, and it feels like relatable. When it comes to high school and high school books, friends are a huge part of the experience, and in this book, they are solid. They're just great characters. They're a great support system. They made the story keep moving, and they kept the character afloat. And of course, the book is called Love Letters to the Dead, and it is a series of letters that she writes to deceased celebrities. But I thought it did such a great job. I just thought it was so good. It was such quality. To Stephen Chbosky, my dear friend and mentor, thank you for letting me be a part of telling your stories and helping me learn to tell mine. I mean, if you like Perks of Being a Wallflower, you gotta pick it up. It's like Perks of Being a Wallflower in a different female universe. It was really good. Number 4 is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic novel. This is kind of an autobiographical story of this girl who was growing up as a child in Iran during the revolution. So I didn't know anything about this. I read it for English class in high school, so I kind of put book 1 and book 2 together as number 4. I thought it was just like so amazing because it's translated, go into it and you think there's no way I'm gonna understand where she's coming from, but you just go right into it and you're drawn in by Margie and growing up in a completely different environment. She was just like me, and I could relate to her. So it's a really powerful story about her coming of age, about her relationship with her family, and of course like looking through the eyes of like a young child of what's going on in Iran at this time. Such a powerful book and really exciting, and also I was just like having fun learning about her, wearing makeup for the first time, like growing up, like being a teenage girl, but then of course like the things that she was going through at this time. We are in the final stretch. I'm at number 3. Comes out January 16th. It's co-written by 2 fabulous authors. I got an arc of it. It's the most exciting arc I've ever gotten in my life. It's Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. So I'm not cool enough to get an arc of Zenith. Someone else was cool enough, and I traded them an arc that I got from B-Fest. Whatever, I'm gonna talk about it because I really liked it and I thought it was an amazing in-space adventure with a ton of females at the lead of the story. I don't think the person who traded it with me knew this, but it's signed to Shoddy from Sasha and Lindsay, and I think it says Shoddy, but I'm not quite sure. So anyways, I think it was just so brilliant and it was just doing so well that the ending couldn't top all of the great storytelling leading up to it. But basically, I thought it was so good, so exciting. I feel like they really did something different, and that was my biggest fear going into it is, first of all, I don't know either of their writing ability, let alone their compatibility to write a story. There is drama with the editor of this book. There's a little bit of tea on her, I believe it's her previous work on some problematic books. But you know what? This is from Sasha and Lindsay, and it's about their story, and I don't really care about the editor. I just thought it was so inclusive, and there's just a great family going through this adventure, and it's just so YA, and I haven't had that like burst of YA in a little bit, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the relationships that it plays with. Dex is her ex-boyfriend. I thought he was so charming and great throughout the whole story. And drama is just a breath of fresh air. Really love her. I love that she has purple hair. I mean, purple highlights. I never read the short story that came out on ebook that went to #1 on New York Times. I wish I did. It is Forever in Blue by Anne Brashares, the 4th summer of the Sisterhood. This is the final book in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series, and let me tell you, it was incredible. I don't think I can tell you how much love I felt from this book. I don't think I can describe it to you, the family and community that you get from this series, and how it just makes you feel okay. It kind of makes you feel valid. You're like, you know what, that's me, that's okay. They have new covers, but I bought them all used, and I want them to match, so all of mine have the old word art font. The new covers look good. You know I like it because I will excuse the fonts. So amazing. I could talk to you for an hour about the series. It just makes me feel so good. #1, if you haven't guessed it already, is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. It's so much deeper and darker than Lady Midnight, but you know, I'm not going to try to compare it to Lady Midnight because I can't pick a favorite child. There's so many great things about the Shadowhunters universe. And the Dark Artifices, I think, is just the best of all of those things from Emma's point of view. And I love Emma. She's kind of a born and bred Shadowhunter, and I like that point of view. This was a really big book for things happening. There's some heartbreak. I'm so glad to just jump back into these characters' point of view, and I'm just never disappointed. I'm never like, oh, that's too obvious. Oh, that's cliche. Oh, this person doesn't fit in. Like, it always works out, and I can just really trust this author to put out something that I can connect to and that works with the rest of the series. This was my favorite book of the year, and it wasn't just because I love the Dark Artifices. It was because it was really good and it did a great job. Sorry if it got really dark by the end of the video. It's like winter time, so it gets dark super fast. And this took me so long to film, and my camera died. I'm talking really fast because I don't want it to die again. This is so much fun. This is my favorite kind of videos when I can just go book to book to book to book and tell you what I think. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye!